Hey YouTube, this is Jaden Convention Team Shadow Strike, and I have another Buddy Fight deck profile here for you guys, and this is going to be over my Star Dragon World Jackknife deck. There is, however, only one card that I still want for this deck, but it is still playable. It's mainly just for consistency, and I'll get to that when I get to it. But anyway, guys, let's just jump straight into this deck profile. A sideboard has not been created yet. I'm still kind of working on that, but if any of you out there are interested in sideboard options, you can leave a comment below and I'll tell you what I would side for this, or I mean what I would put in a sideboard for this deck if anybody would like to know. So first off, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Sean for trading me this secret flag. This is the one I wanted. I think this flag is one of the most beautiful ones ever. And for my buddy monster, it is Star Dragoneer Jackknife. I went back and forth between this and the one copy of Jack where if you have 4 monsters in the drop zone, he gets +2/+2, and then if there's 8, he gains Penetrate. The game, in my opinion, has kind of speeded up a little bit, and you can't really rely on getting that drop zone ever, so I went back to the original Star Dragoneer Jackknife because he has amazing stats. He's 5/3/5, and you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put 1 into the soul, and drop the other 2 into the drop zone. So it also fills up your drop zone for your later plays. And he gets a soul just for coming out, so which is a requirement for one of the key pieces of this deck. So, you know, that is my reason behind this. There really isn't a wrong option. I just prefer. I don't want to rely. Because the times that this deck would struggle, I wouldn't get monsters in the drop zone, and that Jack only has 4k defense, and it's real easy to run into. This is at least 5, it provides a little more defense, so I just decided to go with this one, and it's been doing better. So, but like I said, both are good options. Starting off with Impact Monsters, we play 3 copies of Jackknife Galactical Punisher. 3 is solid. I don't know if I could fit in a 4th because this deck is extremely tight. This is probably one of the hardest decks to edit, in my opinion. So anyway, its stats are 10,000 power, 3 crits, and 5 defense. Size 2 impact monster. Call cost, pay 3 gauge and put this card on top of a Neo Dragon monster on your field. When this card enters the field, put up to 1 card from your drop zone into this card's soul. The damage dealt to your opponent by this card cannot be reduced if it's attacking alone, and it also has Penetrate and Soul Guard. So, you can really, this is kind of like one of your finishers. So, getting into our size 2s, which are all Jacks exclusively, we play our 4 copies of our buddy monster, Star Dragoneer Jackknife. So, call cost is pay a gauge, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put 1 into the soul, the rest go into the drop zone. Stats of 5/3/5, and he has Soul Guard. I already went over it, but oh well. Next, we play 2 copies of Full Liberate Jackknife. That's because I only have 2 copies of these, and one of these, believe it or not, I had to trade for. Call cost is pay a gauge and put the top card of your deck into this card's soul. Stats of 6,000 power, 2 crits, and 5 defense. His ability is Counteract. During your turn, you may put a soul from this card into the drop zone if you do stand this card. And he also has Soul Guard. I really like this Jack. I want to get more copies of him. He's so much fun. Especially if you have the double attacking dragon arms in here. You can get 3 attacks out of him, and it's really good. And then lastly, we play 2 copies of Star Guardian Jackknife, which is the original Jackknife. 5,000 power, 3 crits, and 6k defense. Call cost, pay a gauge. When this card enters the field, put up to 1 monster from your drop zone into this card's soul, and it has Soul Guard. So those are the Jacks I play. I do not play Stargazer anymore just because that 4k defense, and with everything that's running around right now, I see that Jack is extremely fragile, and at least all 3 of these have at least 5k defense. So I just see that as being a little more, I guess, just a little better. For our size 1s, and I call these the supporters, we play 3 copies of V Gradation Quantum Ruler. His stats is 4,000 power, 1 crit, and 1k defense. His ability is Stardust Brave. When this card enters the field, and you have a Neo Dragon on your field with 1 soul or more, put the top card of your deck into the gauge and draw 1 card. So, gives you another gauge and draw. And then we play 2 copies of Star Dragoneer Astro Beacon. Astro Beacon, its ability, its stats are 3,000 power, 2 crits, and 1k defense. His ability is at the beginning of your attack phase. You may put a card from your hand into the soul of a monster on your field. If you do, draw a card, and he also has Soul Guard. So I have 3 copies of this card, but knowing which values to run these cards at are kind of challenging. So and for the last size one is I play 2 Star Dragoneer Luminous Blue. Luminous Blue is this card gets 1,000 power and 1,000 defense for each soul in cards on your field. And then when this card attacks, you may put a monster from your drop zone into the soul of a Neo Dragon on the field. So he gives you a way to recycle your Dragon Arms back into your Jax or him or any Neo Dragon for that matter. So you can get the abilities of your Dragon Arms. And speaking of your Dragon Arms, we play, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different Dragon Arms. So we play 1 Galaxion. I'm not going to be going over the stats of these because their stats really don't matter. So Galaxion, if it is in the soul of a Neo Dragon, in the soul of a Jackknife monster, that Jack gains +1 critical. And then if it's in the soul of a Impact monster with Jack in its name, when that card attacks alone, it can also not be nullified. So that's nice. We play 1 copy of Great Dragon Arms Main Force. Its ability is when it is in the soul of a Neo Dragon, you may pay 1 gauge. If you do, for this turn, the next time that Neo Dragon would be destroyed, it remains on the field. So it just provides it another protection. And then we play 1 Biggest Dragon Arms Sonic Blast. Sonic Blast is, if it's in the soul of a Neo Dragon, whenever that Neo Dragon attacks, you can pay 1 gauge and destroy any card on the field. 1 Dragon Arms Silt Fighter. If this is in the soul of a Neo Dragon, counter, you can remove this from your soul, and the next time you'd be dealt damage, it is reduced to 0. 1 copy of Dragon Arms Transportal. When this is in the soul of a Neo Dragon and that Neo Dragon attacks, select 1 card on your opponent's field and remove a soul from it. 1 Dragon Arms Radiant Alma. Radiant Alma, if it is in the soul of a Neo Dragon and you have 6 life or less, you may pay 1 gauge. If you do, that monster gains a double attack. 1 Dragon Arms Strength, while it's in the soul of a Neo Dragon, it gets plus 2,000 power and penetrate. So, that's good. Next, Dragon Arms Divisigator. When it's in the soul of a Neo Dragon, they get 2,000 extra defense points. So it just he's in here mainly just to kind of increase the defense of your monster. Wow, that sounded better in my head. It's just to make them a little harder to attack over. That's better. 1 Dragon Arms Telnata. When this card is put from your field or drop zone into the soul of a Neo Dragon, you put the top card of your deck into the gauge. And then we also play 1 Dragon Arms Slowing. While this is in the soul of a Neo Dragon, whenever that Neo Dragon attacks, you put the top card of your deck into the gauge. And then lastly, 1 Dragon Arms Garble Anchor. Its ability is counter. When your opponent would cast a spell, you may put this card from the soul of a Neo Dragon into your drop zone and pay 1 gauge and 1 life. If you do, nullify the spell. So you can use this to nullify a spell cast by your opponent and use it to... I use a lot of times, if this is in the soul of your monster and you're attacking for game and they green dragon shield you or something, then you can kick it off and you win. So next, we get into our items. I currently only have one copy of the Dragon Force of Style, the Dragon Force Style of Justice. I want at least one or two more copies of this card. But at one, I still am able to find it because I do play this a way to search it, and it does seem to find my hand fairly frequently. I also play 2 copies of the Snowy Dragon Force at the moment. I really like this card because it's actually it's kind of like Luminous Blue, actually. So its release condition is you must have a monster with Jackknife and its card name on your field. Very easy to do. It has a 5,000 power with a 2 crit damage output. Its equip cost is pay 2 gauge. When this card attacks and destroys an opponent's monster or deals damage to your opponent, you may put a Dragon Arms from your drop zone into the soul of a Neo Dragon on your field. So, very, very good card. And then lastly, we play 2 copies of Star Magnum Dragnapulse. So, 5,000 power, 2 crits. Equip cost is pay 1 gauge and 1 life. When this card deals damage to your opponent, put the top card of your deck into the gauge. And then also, at the end of the battle that this card attacked, you may discard a card from your hand and draw a card. So you can use it to put the Neo Dragons in your hand into the drop zone. So, but like I said, I really want to get at least a couple more copies of this. So that'll be the next thing I do. For our spells, we play 4 copies of Dragon Arms Factory. We use this to add draw power to the deck, and this is a very, very good card. Cast cost, discard a Dragon Arms from your hand and draw 2 cards. So next we play 3 Earth Barrier. This is an open center deck because I didn't explain what this did, but real quick. Release condition, you must have a Neo Dragon with Jackknife in its card name, and it must have at least 2 or more souls. And then pay 2 gauge to equip, and when this card is on the field, it can't be destroyed, returned to the hand, and its abilities can't be nullified. During your attack phase, all monsters on your opponent's field cannot move. Then if you have a Neo Dragon on your field and no monster in your center, it nullifies the ability of all monsters on your opponent's field. So this is an open center deck because of that, and we will need some way to defend ourselves at times. And Earth Barrier is just a way to nullify those attacks and give us some life back. Because one thing you will notice is this Dragon Force does not have a life requirement. You just have to have a Jack on the field with 2 souls, which is very easy to do. Then we also play 3 copies of Jackknife History. This is like Drago Energy, but specifically for Jack. Anytime Jack is attacked, you can cast it, and it gives Jack +4/+4 and counterattack. We play 2 Dragoneer's Beat with, in this deck. You may only cast this card if your buddy is a Neo Dragon and has Jackknife in its card name, which obviously it is. Cast cost, pay 1 gauge. Choose one of the following 2 effects. You can only use this card once per turn. Pay 1 life. If you do, search your deck for 1 item, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck, so you can search out your Style of Justice with this. Or, for this turn, the item on your field gets +2,000 power and +1 crit. But we're using this mainly as a way to search out our Style of Justice. 2 copies of Starjack Repair. You may only cast this card if you have a card with Jackknife and its card name on your field. Put the top card of your deck into the gauge, and then put a card from your drop zone into the soul of a Neo Dragon on the field. You can only cast Starjack Repair once per turn. And then we play 2 copies of Null Place. Cast cost, pay 1 gauge and 1 life. Destroy a monster on your opponent's field with 5,000 or less defense. So, that is all of our spells. And that is our Star Dragon World deck. This deck revolves around getting Star of Justice on the field and shutting off all your opponent's abilities so they can't respond in any way during either battle phase. It is a very, very good deck, and I see it as being a still very competitive deck. There's a lot of decks that just crumble under this because they don't have a way to deal with the Dragon Force. Even if they rest it, its ability is still going to be active. So it is an amazing card. I want to get at least 2 more copies of the Star of Justice Dragon Force, but I'll probably do that pretty shortly because they're only about $20 a piece. But that is my deck, and I really enjoy playing it. Star Dragon World's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see Jack get some more love in the future, even though one might argue that he's gotten enough. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. If you have any suggestions, you can leave them down below. If you have any questions or ideas for future videos or deck profiles, feel free to share those with me as well. Hope you're all doing well. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up this video for me, and I'll see you next time.